Beacon Hill is one of Boston's biggest real estate traps, and no one is talking about it. Yes, it looks like a storybook. You have cobblestone streets, gas lamps, and beautiful old buildings. But buying here could be one of the most expensive mistakes that you make. You'll pay more than almost anywhere else in Boston, and in return, we're talking tiny spaces, no parking, and lots of stairs. Worst of all, your home probably won't go up much in value. I'm Kimberlee Meserve, and I've helped hundreds of buyers navigate the Boston market over the last decade. I know which neighborhoods actually help you build wealth and which ones just look good on the outside but don't deliver that long-term value. In this video, we're going deep on Beacon Hill, who it's great for, who should avoid it, and what homes actually cost, plus what most buyers don't realize until it's too late. If you're even thinking about buying in Beacon Hill, you need to watch this entire video before you make any decisions. Let's start with why people fall in love with Beacon Hill in the first place. The historic charm here is undeniable. You've got those iconic gas lamps, cobblestone streets that photographers dream about. Acorn Street is one of the most photographed places in the country, and brownstones that have been standing since the 1800s. This location here is incredible. You can walk to Boston Common in just a couple minutes. Charles Street is lined with boutique shops and cafes that make you feel like you're living in a movie, and you're walking distance to Back Bay, the Theater District, and downtown. It genuinely feels like old Boston here. Quiet, refined, and absolutely iconic. But here's where the dream meets reality, and it gets expensive fast. Most homes in Beacon Hill are 1 to 2 bedroom walk-ups with no parking. I'm talking about 4th floor apartments with narrow staircases that you'll be climbing every single day with your groceries, your laundry, everything. The inventory here is also incredibly limited, especially if you're a family looking for 3 bedrooms or more. You're competing with a very small pool of available properties, which drives prices through the roof. We're looking at some of the highest price per square foot numbers in the entire city, often $1,200 to $1,500 a square foot or more. That means that you're paying premium prices for spaces that are often smaller than what you'd get in a modern apartment building. And here's what really gets people: the stairs, the dated layouts, and expensive renovations. These are old buildings. Yes, they're charming, absolutely, but you're dealing with layouts from a completely different time, and updating them to modern standards gets expensive quickly. We're talking about buildings where adding central air conditioning might require major structural work. Let's talk real numbers, because this is where Beacon Hill gets brutal for most buyers. For 1-bedroom condos, you're looking at $700,000 to $1.1 million. That's for a 1-bedroom apartment, often without parking and often a walk-up. 2-bedroom condos, 1.2 to 1.6 million. And remember, these are typically older layouts, so the 2 bedrooms might be smaller than what you'd expect from a modern building. If you want a townhouse or single family house, in Beacon Hill, we're talking 2.5 million and up. These properties are rare and ultra competitive. When they do come on the market, you're often dealing with multiple offers, cash buyers, and prices that escalate quickly. Here's some perspective. For the price of a 2-bedroom walk-up in Beacon Hill, you could get a completely renovated single-family house with a yard and parking in Roslindale, or a brand new 3-bedroom condo in Quincy with modern amenities, parking, and elevator access. Listen, I'm not saying Beacon Hill is not worth it for some people, but you need to go in understanding exactly what you're paying for and exactly what you're giving up. Before we talk about who Beacon Hill actually makes sense for, let me help you avoid a costly mistake. If you're thinking about moving to Boston and you don't want to waste time looking in the wrong places, or worse, overpay in the wrong neighborhood, grab my free Boston relocation guide. It breaks down commute options, lifestyle vibes, and real pricing across the major Boston neighborhoods so that you can plan smart from the beginning. Scan the QR code on your screen and it is completely free to you. Beacon Hill isn't a bad choice for everyone. There are definitely buyer profiles where it makes perfect sense. First, we have luxury downsizers who want historic charm and walkability. If you're an empty nester who sold a larger home in the suburbs and you want to be in the heart of the city, Beacon Hill delivers an unmatched lifestyle. You can walk everywhere, you're surrounded by culture and dining, and you're living in a piece of American history. Second, all cash buyers who care more about lifestyle than growth. If you have significant liquid assets and your primary goal is just living in an iconic location rather than building wealth through real estate appreciation, Beacon Hill can work. You're buying a lifestyle, not necessarily as much of an investment. And third, investors who are seeking prestige units with rental demand. There is consistent demand for Beacon Hill rentals, both short-term and long-term. If you're buying it as an investment property and you understand the numbers, the location factor can command premium rents. But here's who should probably skip Beacon Hill entirely. If you want parking, modern layouts, or outdoor space, Beacon Hill is really going to frustrate you daily. Street parking is extremely limited and most buildings don't have dedicated parking. If you need to drive regularly, this becomes a real quality of life issue. If you're relying on long-term appreciation or you need liquidity from your real estate investment, Beacon Hill's appreciation has been a lot slower than many other Boston neighborhoods. You're paying peak prices for a market that's already matured. And if you're a growing family who needs 3 or more bedrooms, kid-friendly amenities nearby, Beacon Hill just doesn't have the inventory or the family infrastructure that you need. It's not to say that families don't live here, but you may not find that it works for you. The playground situation is more limited. Yes, you do have the common nearby, but finding larger spaces is nearly impossible, and the building types just aren't designed as much for families with young children, especially if you need to carry strollers and groceries and all the things that kids come with. So if you like what Beacon Hill offers, but you want more value for your money, let me give you some alternatives that might deliver a better overall package. If you want similar luxury and walkability, Back Bay gives you condos with elevators and parking. Still luxury and still historic, but more spacious and functional for modern living. You get similar walkability to restaurants and shopping, but with buildings designed for more contemporary lifestyles. The South End offers better layouts, incredible walkability, and one of the best food scenes in the city. And you have a lot more variety in housing options. You can still get that historic Beacon Hill charm, but the pricing here is a lot more reasonable and you get more options for better functionality. Bay Village is small, but quiet and often overlooked by buyers who are focused on the bigger name neighborhoods. You can occasionally find good deals here, and you're still walking distance to everything downtown. Cambridge has a lot of sections that offer historic charm, plus you have a better connection to the tech economy, which can support property values over time. You get walkability, culture, and a more diverse range of housing options. If you want charm but need more space and value, well, Roslindale delivers that village vibe with much better prices. You get community feel, local restaurants and shops, and significantly more space for your money. Charlestown offers historic character that is more family friendly, with better access to parking, larger living spaces, and more kid-friendly amenities. Medford and Quincy give you substantially more home for your money. Yes, you're not going to get the cobblestone streets, but you do get more modern amenities, parking, and room to actually live comfortably. The key here is to really be honest about what you actually need in your daily life versus what looks good in photos. Here's the bottom line. Beacon Hill is beautiful, iconic, and full of history. It's one of America's most photographed neighborhoods, and for a good reason. But for most buyers, it's more of a lifestyle statement than a smart investment. If you're buying here, make sure you go in with eyes wide open. Understand that you're paying a premium price for a very specific lifestyle that comes with some real trade-offs. You're not buying for appreciation potential, you're buying to live in a postcard. Make sure you understand exactly what this lifestyle choice takes before you even start looking. Factor in not just purchase price, but ongoing cost of maintaining a more historic property, the limited parking, and the reality that your $2 million might not get you a lot of space and modern amenities as you get elsewhere in the city. Want to see which neighborhoods in Boston actually give you the best return on your money? Check out my complete ranking of the best and worst neighborhoods for buyers in 2025. This video is linked right here, and it might completely change how you think about where to buy in Boston. Thanks for watching, and remember, the prettiest neighborhood isn't always the smartest choice for your wallet.